What's up guys, King Crisis here, welcome to the channel. If you guys new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Welcome to What If Deku has Steven Universe's powers, the movie. Now guys, when we start this video off, I'd like for you guys to know that I have the first half of the script written out now. When I say half, somewhat half. This first half is going to cover the birth of Deku and his origin, because Deku's backstory will be a bit more complicated than canon Deku for obvious reasons. But the birth of Deku all the way up until the hero versus villains. I'm going to continue onward, and I'm going to continue going on until the sports festival. The sports festival and the USJ are unscripted, mainly because it's not really much that ever changes about them. So I really don't have to actually, write a script for those parts, because those parts are very simple. They always play out almost the exact same, unless Deku has some incredibly powerful sensory ability, which of course he will, but I'm not going to give him that ability for this what if, because there's no point. With that being said, guys, 2 out of the 10 pages is just Deku's powers. Actually 2.5. So I'm gonna list them off now. Steven has powers such as enhanced strength, which increases his strength obviously enough, allowing him to do pretty incredible feats such as throwing large boulders, throwing people, and even throwing like corrupted gems and extremely powerful things. There is no legitimate statement as to how much Steven can lift or how powerful his punches are. But what we do know is Steven is capable of punching and defeating Yellow Diamond, Blue Diamond, and White Diamond, all who are successfully powerful beings who are gigantic, who can literally like fight gigantic ships way bigger than them. Okay? They're also able to crack the shield of Pink Diamond, which is very rare. He has Super Jump, which is likely adjacent and comes from his enhanced strength. But his Super Jump also comes from his next ability, Gravity Manipulation. Gravity manipulation, although it only affects himself, we have not seen him actively use gravity manipulation in order to affect the gravity of everyone else around him. But what we've seen him allow his gravity to do, it allows him to increase the heights of his jump even further, and allows him to decrease the slows of his fall. He has super speed. He has shape-shifting, which allows him to change his physical form in any way he sees fit, to the point where he could literally corrupt himself. He has done this 2 times. The first time Steven has corrupted himself was when he literally shape-shifted his entire body into just like this, I don't know how to explain, but it's just like this amalgamation of like his entire body was just cats. And then the second time, he felt like just so mentally unstable that he transformed into a corrupted being of immense amounts of power. He has healing powers. His healing powers are nothing to laugh at, because from what we've seen, Steven's healing powers can heal anything, even death. He's able to heal people, and once he heals them, normally nothing happens. They're simply healed and they're able to move on. His healing abilities also works on inanimate objects, but the most powerful version of his healing takes effect when a person is freshly dead. Because if a person is dead freshly and he's close by enough, he's able to revive them. And when he revives them, they come back to life stronger. Now they come back to stronger, gaining enhanced strength, enhanced speed, sonic scream, portal creation, the longevity, which means that they age extremely slow, like extremely. Also, their heads are portals to an alternate dimension that Steven can jump through. And as long as like that means that like depending on the amount of people that he has revived that are linked to his powers, he's able to just jump through their heads at any given point at any time that he wants. He has the power to literally give consciousness to anything, which means that like with his spit, his saliva, and the same things that he used to heal people, if they were to reach or touch something inanimate such as rocks and plants, they will become animate things. They will become conscious. They will gain consciousness as well as gain some attributes to their physical forms. Such as whenever he made his entire army of watermelon Stevens, as well as when he made that little rock come to life, on top of the fact that he made a pet pumpkin. Yeah. But now for his more important abilities. He has the ability to summon an extremely powerful shield, which he can telekinetically control. He's able to spawn multiple of these shields at once. He's able to spawn them at any part of its body at any point. The shield is completely indestructible, as long as Steven is strong enough to make sure of it. Enough willpower to keep it stable, things such as that. The shield can block almost any attack, including attacks from people with similar power, such as Blue Diamond, White Diamond, and Yellow Diamond. The shield actually managed to take a blast from all 3 that corrupted every single gem on the face of the earth, aside from Garnet, Pearl, and, Hell, actually, I think it was just aside from Garnet, Pearl, and Rose. Pretty sure Amethyst wasn't, really there at the time. His shields also takes the form of hexagons, which seems to be more powerful than his regular shields. They act the same way though. Hexagons can still be used the same exact way. They're just like more powerful, and they seem to have more offensive abilities. He's able to use his hexagon shields to push the people forward. He's able to use his hexagon shields to hold people down in place by placing several of them around the person. He's able to use his hexagon shields to do a lot more brutal things though. You see, his hexagon shields are able to have spikes protrude from them, and at this point they're no longer even shields because these are just straight up spikes that he can shoot towards people, as well as creating a gigantic wall in front of him with straight spikes that he's able to use to shoot towards his opponents. He used this in order to take down and technically kill Jasper in gem terms, although she was shattered, but for a gem, being shattered is essentially death. He's able to summon a protective bubble. Obviously, you guys know this is his classic bubble ability. The bubble is extremely powerful, giving him the ability of a atmosphere, which means he can breathe underwater, he can breathe in space. He's able to use the bubble to extend the bubble to grab onto things. He's able to wrap the bubbles around his fist, enhancing his strength again. He's able to use the bubbles to fly, because the bubbles can literally just go wherever he wants it to go. He's able to change the shape of the bubble at will, transforming the bubble into spikes as well as using the bubble in order to constantly shift shapes. Although we're not sure as to what his true limits of it is. Literally anything can happen with the bubble, to be completely honest. He has several light cannons. Okay, now these are not for sure. I'm not completely certain as to whether or not he can actually summon these or not, but what I am aware of the fact is, for one, there are two things, technically three things, that belong to Rose, and all of them are connected to Steven because they need Steven to operate, they need Steven to function, they need Steven to work, all except for the sword, because it's a sword. I mean, I'm pretty sure it doesn't need anything like crazy. But there is her ship, which of course automatically needs Steven to work because he has to be the one to use the jump power. The cannon, which are the light cannons, which are incredibly powerful, capable of taking down a homeworld ship with a single blast. And then there's her sword. Now, I am not certain as to whether or not he can actually summon these, but for the sake of the story, he will be able to summon them at any given point that he wants. Now that actually gets into his sword. Rose's sword seems to have the power to shatter a diamond, or at least that's what many people assumed, because, quote unquote, Rose used that same blade to shatter Pink Diamond. When in all actuality, she herself was Pink Diamond, but it doesn't really matter. Now, he has the ability to fuse, which gives him the power to fuse with both gems and humans. It greatly enhances all of his powers and abilities. Although there are not going to be many gems in the series, I will try implementing as many as I can without making the story completely revolve around them. Although I do have the main villain being a gem, but he's not really going to be the main villain. He's literally not going to act on anything, literally like at all. He's just going to be in the background until All For One is defeated, where from there he will have his fair one with Deku. And that's literally it. Like, he's not going to be like actually affecting things too much. Although every once in a while I will make him do something because he needs to do something. Because if he doesn't, no. Also, when Izuku fuses with things, it gives him new weapons. Now, of course, this only applies when Izuku actually because his fusion with his dad had a fucking guitar. Okay, never mind. It gives him new weapons and things that actually come from the other person's perspective, thoughts, attributes. Now, when he were to fuse with someone like Pearl, he would have gained an umbrella, which to me isn't really that much of a weapon, but it's whatever. When he fuses with Amethyst, he gains a yo-yo. When he fuses with Garnet, he gains, I do not know what these things are called, but for one, it's gauntlets with his shields on the inside of them that he can use to climb up walls. Whatever the hell those things are called, he gains them. With that being said, he has many more powers. He also has two variations of a different form called Pink Steven. Now, in my personal opinion, I believe that the first variation of Pink Steven is stronger than Steven Universe Future Steven, because I believe that Pink Steven from Steven Universe Future is still weaker, because likely his true diamond self could likely do everything he could do, but better. Because after all, Pink Steven was shown to be incredibly more powerful than basic human Steven. So, I believe that his pure gem form would also just be as freakishly powerful as that. With that being said, guys, the story now begins. So, the story takes place within the future of the Steven Universe future. A great cataclysm has happened, and almost every single gem has died out. Every gem, aside from the universe bloodline. With the universe bloodline being the last bloodline that basically lives that have gem related powers within them, or at least the potential to gain gem powers. You see, when Steven had kids, his kids did not inherit his gem. As a matter of fact, nothing happened to the gem. He isn't like Rose, okay? He didn't have to sacrifice himself because Steven is naturally human. He's half human, which means he was able to have children. His kids, on the other hand, though, they were born with some power. They just were not born with gems. They were born with enhanced strength, enhanced speed, and sonic scream, just like basically anyone that Steven were to revive. Although some of them were enhanced a bit better, some had different powers, some had opposite abilities such as healing, and some were able to summon small barriers, but they were not able to do anything past that. Those were either the powers that they would gain. Now, for many years, his bloodline remained. And the universe bloodline eventually blanched out, and they left their home. 200 years ago, they moved to Japan. Most of the universes forgot their origin. They do not remember exactly what their family was. The only thing that they do remember was one thing: a pink diamond. A singular pink diamond that was eventually passed down to Inko. She was the last one to hold the diamond. They have tried to sell the diamonds a few times, and every time they sold it, the diamonds somehow always ended up back in their possession. She was the last one to hold the diamond. As one day when Inko was pregnant, she held the diamond within her hand and showed it to her stomach, explaining that Izuku was going to be the next one to hold this. But as she says this, the diamond began to glow a pink color. It glowed vastly before it vanished completely without a trace. I pray that Inko was greatly upset after that, but she was also confused. As she was pregnant, many weeks would pass until one day a tall woman showed up at her door. This woman had orange and green skin. Well, mostly orange. She had a few green patches. She seemed to have a gem on her forehead. She looks as if she has scars across her body, and she looks towards Inko, explaining, "Miss Universe, we need you to come with us immediately." She looks towards her, having no idea who this woman is. This woman literally bows before her, explaining that her name is Jasper. She was sent to Inko, sent to the last descendant of the universal bloodline. In case of her current child would not survive, then they will come meet her with them immediately. She is the only one stable, well, her or her child are the only one stable to inherit the powers of Pink Diamond. The only one stable enough to stop this monstrosity that's been destroying all gems. The gems are almost completely wiped out, and she really needs their help. There's only 5 survivors. White Diamond is dead. Blue Diamond is dead. Yellow Diamond is so much weaker. She's a shell of her former self, barely being able to keep her own physical form stable. Inko looks at her confused. She has no idea what this woman is talking about. She's never seen this woman before, and now this woman just shows up to her door and just straight up says she needs to use her child just in case she can't use her. But as she's doing this, the woman immediately looks upward, and suddenly she literally tackles Inko into her home. She immediately slams the door of Inko's house shut, and she proceeds to run Inko into her bathroom. She closes the door, where from there, Inko hears a lot of crashing noises. She peeks out of her bathroom door, where from there she sees a gigantic monster. It seems to be trying to bite at the woman, but the woman seems to have this thing appear on her forehead. She headbutts the creature, she kicks it off of her, and then she proceeds to run forward. The woman proceeds to punch against the monster. She begins to grab it, she drags it all around. She easily throws the monster out of her home, as she literally rolls up to this ball-like thing and proceeds to chase after it. And as Inko watches on, she sees this woman completely obliterating this monster. Well, from there, the woman ran forward, and the thing of her forehead grew large spikes, and she proceeds to headbutt right through the monster's skull. As she does this, the woman comes walking back inside. Inko sees her and she quickly runs. As she runs, the lady would tell her, "No, don't!" But it's too late. Inko runs. She runs out of her back door. But as she runs, suddenly shadows begin to form up from the ground, and a man is seen standing. The man is seen wearing mostly black, but he has gray outlines in his clothing. He looks upward towards Inko. Inko Universe, it's a pleasure to finally meet you. It's good to meet my great niece, the man would say, as he looks forward. Listen, My name for now isn't very important, but uh, I have to introduce myself after all. If I don't introduce myself, then I'm an asshole. My name is Dark Diamond. It's a pleasure to meet you. Inko looks forward towards him as he then exclaims, but you see, your child. Your child? Yeah, I'm sorry, but he's not gonna be able to make it. He looks towards Inko. You're gonna have to be still now. After all, you're a mere human. You have a very weak quirk, and you don't seem to possess most of the power that most of your family is born with. You may only possess the healing capabilities. Inko looks towards him scared. He just smiles. It's okay, ma'am. Everything's gonna be okay. You are my blood after all. I don't want to kill all of you. I mean, I already killed 2 of my sisters. Hell, technically 3 if I count my nephew. As he looks forward, just be still. He begins to walk towards Inko. As Inko begins to back, basically crawling away. The man rushes forward towards her before he's blasted away by the powerful burst of lightning. As this happens, a woman walks forward. She has a staff within her, or she has a spear within her hand, and not even a regular spear, like a gigantic spear. This woman charges forward towards the man. The man cracks a sinister grin as he rushes towards the woman. The man, on the other hand, he will actually have a staff, and he's seen battling against a woman. They're both gigantic figures, and it seems the man that was once Inko's size grew to massive proportions to be the same size as this woman. But it wasn't much of a fight. The man was actually destroying this woman. She had long brown hair. She seems to have a lot of yellow on her body, and her face was entirely yellow. But this man was just doing her bad. He was dangerous. He seems to have white gems on his head, little diamonds, small ones on his head, but in the center was a gigantic black one that glowed green within its center. The man let off a sinister laugh as he wasted no time. He proceeds to destroy her, and she had to literally get down on one knee. She literally had to bow for a moment before she uppercutted the man. She grabs Inko, and she grabs Jasper and runs. As the lady runs, Inko begins to complain, like she begins to scream, but Jasper knocks her unconscious. When she eventually wakes up, she sees 4 people standing over her, and one person in the corner facing away from her. She could tell that woman seemed to be off by her presence. For some reason, Inko don't know what it was, but she immediately knew that the woman in the corner did not want her there. But she was scared. She looked around confused. They literally kidnapped her. She was so scared. They tell her that they're here to help her. They're here to help her child. They're here to keep her and her baby safe. That until she's able to give birth to her child, unless he comes for them, then she'll have to stay here. She has to. They need to know that her child is going to be safe. They need to teach their child how to use their power. Of course, she doesn't trust them. She looks on them, scared. And after a few months of them literally basically not allowing her to leave, and they basically hold Inko captive, but they don't treat Inko horribly. They don't abuse Inko. They don't do anything like God forbidden horrible to Inko. This slowly but surely makes her develop a bit of trust for them. And as she develops a bit of trust, eventually though, Deku's born. You see, when Deku was born, Inko sadly passed away during his birth. But thanks to the presence of Yellow Diamond, who's gonna have very similar powers to Pink Diamond, after all, they're both diamonds, she manages to heal her, manages to revive Inko. When Inko's brought back to life, she's brought back to life yellow and bright yellow hair. With her being brought back to life, I say due to her being brought back to life by Yellow Diamond instead of being brought back to life by Pink Diamond, I'm going to say she's going to have a bit different powers, but it's really not going to matter because this is an Inko story. Now, ever since she looked down where I believe gems, I was also happy that Pink Diamond is back. Now all the gems celebrated that Pink Diamond is back, and Yellow walked forward. She placed her hand on the baby in tears. She cried. The next 14 years would pass. Deku trained severely. Every single day he trained. He blended in with human society very well. He looked like a regular person walking around, or someone who had some different type of quirk. But he blended in well. No one ever questioned the fact that he's human, and he was able to pass through on a day-to-day basis as if nothing is different, as if he's not different, when all actuality he himself is a straight-up alien. He trained his powers on a daily basis, and he even fought several of the same monsters that Jasper was absolutely destroying. But from here, he submits his letter to go to UA. The Diamonds and the other gyms are not happy about Izuku trying to go to UA because they want Izuku to remain low-key. Those powers that they were going to need eventually in order to defeat Dark Diamond, they just don't feel comfortable. But as they were doing this, suddenly, Dark Diamond literally walked into their compound like it was nothing. He looks forward. Look, I have a galactic empire to run. Honestly, he looks towards Deku. As long as you don't get in my way, and as long as I feel like allowing you to be a little hero, I'd have a little bit of fun, I say, be a hero, kid. As he looks forward, all the gyms there have their weapons out, and Inko has literal lightning coming off of her hands. The man just laughs, please. Yellow Diamond is pathetic at this current point, and the only reason why you guys feel comfort is because she's here. But as you all know, Yellow Diamond is nothing compared to what she once was. You guys know this. I don't understand why you're all acting as if you're fools. Yellow Diamond is nothing compared to the woman that she once was. You guys stand no chance. Well, even with the likes of Jasper and Mrs. Diamond here fusing, hell, plus your little Pearl over there, you still wouldn't stand much of a chance. I mean, after all, you guys rely on Peridot and Bismuth. They build all your weapons. Pathetic, though. Just straight up weaklings. Relying on the likes of a very weakened Diamond, who's only equivalent to that of now a very weak Amethyst. He looks forward. I'm going to give the boy a chance to be a hero before I kill him. As he says this, he says it with just no shame. And Yellow would say, you're not going to kill him. He didn't want to say, how much longer do you think you have? Because once you fully destabilize, you're no longer going to keep your form, I will take your diamond, he explains. And I'm going to make you into my image. Just as I made white, just as I made blue, he explains. As he says, Yellow say, what the hell is that supposed to mean? You didn't touch my sisters. As he says, he didn't say, our sisters. And like I said, I made them perfect. You know, you would see if you were to just come with your baby brother. Maybe you get a chance to actually see our sisters again. As he says this, she looks towards him. Never. He would sigh. That sucks. I wanted you to be with our family. She looks forward. And what about Izuku? Huh? He's our family. Yes, but he's not what I want him to be. He's half human. He's nothing. He's a mere humanoid boy who I feel disgusted to know is one of my kind. He's just not us. And that's okay. That's okay, Yellow. The boy just isn't like us. Don't you understand that? He's not one of us. Please, just come with me. Yellow looks towards him and she spits at him. He would sigh. Well, I tried. Anyways, live out your life, be a hero, and have fun. But if you try getting in the way of my army, my forces, or anything such as that nature, I will come back and I will wipe this planet clean, and then I would kill your precious little Izuku slowly. From here, Dark Diamond would leave, walking through a dark portal. All the other gyms there were confused. Why is he letting him do this? We don't know, Yellow would say. Ever since he was first born, he's been a trickster. He's playing mind games. We don't know if we can really trust anything he ever says. As from there, all the gyms would turn and look at him. Even Inko. He spoke to you as if he already knew you. I mean, several times you guys fought, he called you his sister. Jasper and Pearl, Amethyst and Peridot. Well, no, my bad. Bismuth and Peridot explained, but we've never known anything of a Dark Diamond. She explains. He's the first of his kind. He's a male gem, a natural one. Unlike Steven, who's a hybrid, unlike Izuku, who are hybrids. He's a natural born male gem. He's the very, very first. Us diamonds were born differently. And when we all were born, there was extra room, extra power remaining. That power solidified. It became Dark Diamond. He had powers similar to all of us. He was a diamond as well, just as powerful as Pink. That's insane. They would say, isn't Pink Diamond meant to be Red Diamond, the supreme leader of Homeworld? They would nod. She was meant to rule homeworld, but he was equal to her. And not only was that the case, Pink is weakened. Pink is... she's deformed, technically. Pink is always meant to be red. We believe that it was him. We believe that his presence was the power that was most likely zapped away from Pink in order to create him. We don't know why he was created by our creators, but what we do know is he's ruthless. He's cold-hearted. He's always been that way. He lingered closer to White, but White was psychotic, as you all know, for many years until eventually she was changed by Steven. But when she was changed, when we all changed, he was not on homeworld. He was conquering worlds by himself. He viewed it as fun. He experimented on other gems, worse than anything we've ever done. He felt lonely. He wanted there to be another male gem out there because he himself was the only one of his kind. It disgusted him. He felt horrible. As he says this, all of them listened. She places her head down. That's her baby brother. And he killed both her sisters. And apparently, he made them in his own image. She has literally no idea what that's supposed to mean. But what she does know is that she's not going to be able to maintain her form soon. And she explains that he cannot get his hands on her diamond underneath no circumstances. As he says this, though, they explain that she's cracked. A few of her chips have already fallen out. The last time someone was this cracked was... Look, she doesn't want to hear it. They're going to have to bubble her up. They're going to have to hide her. She's going to be secure. He has the power to absorb her power. Although he will not gain her abilities, his own power will be so significantly stronger, and he could possibly keep what remains of a gem and put another gem's essence into it. He looks confused. He can what? That's one of his most empowering powers. The ability to literally empty gems, shattered gems, gems that have been destroyed, he's able to put them together. He's able to make new gems. And that's how he made his army of male gems. Because they were nothing more than broken gems of other former gems that died in combat. So, just like a reverse Adam and Eve, Inca would think. But from here, we do a time skip. With Izuku now going to take place in the entrance exams. To be honest, almost everything is going to play out like normal. The difference is, though, he never encounters Ida. He doesn't encounter Bakugo because he doesn't know them. So, when the gates open up, Izuku will look forward. As he looks forward, he sees a bunch of robots, and Izuku immediately cracks his neck with a pink aura starting to come off of him. Izuku's eyes will glow pink, and Izuku's hair begins to glow pink. He begins to jump up and down as Izuku runs off. As he runs forward, Izuku's running in at a very high speed, much faster than almost everyone else there. He runs forward towards the first robot that he sees, which is going to be a three-pointer. He spawns in his shield as he easily jumps into the air, throws his shield as it instantly rips right through the three-pointer robot. Deku then proceeds to land as he turns around, bubbles the robot, and proceeds to use his bubble to crush it. Instantly, the robot is destroyed. He goes onward and proceeds to use his shield, bashing into several robots, easily using the shield to split robots apart, and he's doing all this with only using his shield. He hasn't used his cannon, nor has he used his sword. He used his shield and his bubbles. That's mainly it. He easily throws the shit around because Izuku's learned that he can telekinetically control the shield at will. He's using the shield to surf mid-air. He's using the shield to literally expand and grow as he kicks his shields towards robots. Using his gravity power, he's able to land much softer, and he runs forward, destroying robot after robot after robot. Eventually, on the other hand, with Izuku getting a whopping score of over 100 points, eventually, though, the 0-pointer arrives. With 0-pointer arriving, it was still arriving due to the same thing it did in the original timeline. Everyone still runs away from it. People running away, completely ignoring the fact that there's a young girl whose life in danger. They run. They don't pay any mind to Ochako, and a young Izuku sees this. Well, not really a young, but Izuku sees this. He sees that girl in danger, and he immediately runs forward. Izuku runs forward, jumps upward into the air, and then he proceeds to immediately yeet his shield towards the 0-pointer. As this happens, his shield proceeds to grow large. Actually, it was changed. It takes the shape of a hexagon that bashes the 0-pointer back, and to the surprise of the teachers watching onward. That simple small hexagon just pushed a huge 0-pointer back. As this happens, Deku proceeds to walk towards Ochako. He stands forward as a huge wall begins to form. A wall that's literally bigger than the size of the 0-pointer itself. The wall then proceeds to have gigantic spikes shoot all out of it. As this happens, he then proceeds to push the wall down. as it slams right into the zero pointer and it proceeds to easily destroy it. As this happens, Izuku proceeds to lift up all the rubble. He proceeds to look towards Ochako. He sees that she's injured, and he tells her that it's gonna be okay. He licks his hand, of course, places it on her injured ankle, and he proceeds to heal her. She's a bit weirded out by that because bro just had to put all his saliva all over her, but it's whatever. Ochako would thank Izuku for healing her, or from there Izuku would tell her that it's no problem. He proceeds to high-five Ochako and tell her that she's probably gonna be in class with him, as then from here Izuku would leave. With Izuku leaving, we now time skip. When he makes it back to his mom and the rest of the crystal gems, they are very happy that he made it back. But now the others are scared. They're even more scared than at first, because after all, he already said that he could be a hero. But now that he's actually gonna do it, they're not sure he's gonna keep his word. They're scared. They're worried about Izuku, and they just don't know how things are gonna go. The first day eventually comes around though. He gets his letter of acceptance. He learns that he has the first place score. Surprisingly enough, with his abilities seem to be mostly defensive, according to what they said, he had incredible offensive capabilities with them. He was placed into Class 1A, and that they were greatly excited to meet him on his first day. Izuku goes into the class on his very first day. His very first day there, he sees two of his classmates arguing, that of course being Katsuki Bakugo and Tenya Ida. He doesn't really pay them any mind, because of course in his timeline, he has no idea who they are, and he constantly sees Bismuth and Jasper arguing, so to him, this is just a normal day. Of course though, he still winds up being approached by both Ochako and Ida, who tells him that they seen what he did in the UN entrance exams, and they both would thank him. Ochako obviously thanking Izuku for saving her life, and Ida just basically thanking Izuku and telling him that he's a much better student than he himself. Basically saying the same crap he said in the original timeline. Although Izuku doesn't really like the fact that Ida just basically tried to say he did this for like points, but he ignores it. Now, as they're talking and they're trying to talk, eventually though, Aizawa wakes up. When he wakes up, he says, "If you're here to make friends, I suggest you leave. Now, I have 3 years to whip you guys into shape and make you the best heroes you can possibly be. And in my opinion, 3 years is not enough time. Put these on, go outside, you will meet me out there, and you're going to be taking place at a practical exam. If you fail, you're expelled." As he says this, the others begin to instantly complain, that being Ochako, who would ask about orientation, and then they would say like there's no way he can expel them, they literally just got in. Aizawa just laughs and explains that he's the teacher. His school does not work the same as regular school. He can do whatever the hell it is he wants, and if he says that they're going to get expelled, then he's going to expel them. It's extremely simple. As they will go on over towards the locker room, Izuku winds up taking off his shirt, and of course, Ida is still going to start glazing him immediately, explaining that dude is just like insanely built, and he's surprised. Like he asks Izuku like, what's his workout regimen? Deku simply explains that his workout regimen is very simple. He does simple works out, plus he's been in battle so often that, well, it's just natural for him at this point. He's naturally like this, and he's naturally built like this. As he says this, Kirishima would just say, "That's cool, man, that's really cool." Well, from here we will now time skip. With Ida basically glazing Deku this entire time, we just gonna skip the Minato scene. I have it in here, but there's really no point in covering it. So, now, they make it outside to the practical exam. When they make it outside to the practical exam, the ball is thrown to Izuku. As Aizawa explains that he got first place in the UA entrance exam, and he wants to see just how far Izuku's powers really can go. He tells Izuku to get the ball as far away as he possibly can. Deku then would ask, with or without quirk? Aizawa explains that with quirk. Deku proceeds to hold the ball in his hand. He tosses it up and down a few times, but from there, Izuku will look towards the ball. His eyes will flash pink. He rolls back his hand, and he launches the ball off. To the surprise of the class, the ball is soaring, and as the ball begins to soar, Deku just stares at it, and suddenly, the ball fucking vanishes. Aizawa and the rest of the class looks confused. What Deku literally just did was, you guys know how he can like, how they bubble the gems, and then they do that little weird thingamajig, and they disappear to the area? Basically, Deku did that. He put a small bubble around it when he threw the ball. A bubble that was so thin it was almost invisible, and well, he threw the ball and bubbled that bitch away. So just like that, he just got first place. Because Aizawa and the machine has no idea what the hell happened to it. They just assumed that like he's fucking teleported, which he did. He teleported the ball away. So the team is just absolutely stunned. When I say the team, the class, they're stunned. That's infinity, as I would think, because he has no clue what happened to it, and it's either that bitch is either in space or it's just gone. It's just gone. So from here, the time skip. The time skip now taking place. Izuku eventually walks back home. When he gets back home, this time around he does not encounter Ochako, he does not encounter Ida, because they're going in separate ways, completely separate ways this time around. He doesn't encounter them, and he proceeds to go home. When he makes it home, Izuku lays down and goes to sleep that night. Now, the next day comes around, and the hero versus villains. Now, when the day begins, when it gets towards the end of the day, the students would eventually hear loud banging and loud stumping. As the ground, as it gets louder and louder and louder, All Might bursts to the door. All the twos becomes extremely happy and ecstatic, all aside from Izuku. He's just not too certain about All Might. He's pretty sure that currently Jasper is equivalent to him in power, and he's also certain that Yellow Diamond is also equivalent. Which of course Yellow Diamond isn't really that powerful in her current state, but she's sure that like Prime Yellow Diamond and all the legends that they heard about her at her best, he's certain that she's way stronger than All Might. So he just doesn't really see that much in All Might. He doesn't see All Might as just crazy powerful guy when really he's just not to him. He's just genuinely not that powerful of a guy. He's just not, man. They don't view him as that powerful, insanely powerful figure because, bro, they don't stand a singular chance. All Might doesn't stand a singular chance when it comes down to Izuku. So he doesn't glaze him. He doesn't even acknowledge the fact that All Might is really there. But of course, guys, we're going to make the teams be the same exact teams as they were in the original timeline, which is now going to lead to Deku and Ochako walking inside. As they walk inside towards the exam, Izuku would look towards her. He quickly asks her, "Hey, what's your powers?" Ochako explains that her quirk is zero gravity. Deku explains that that's kind of cool and he would love to see what she can really do. And he explains that he himself can slightly lower gravity on himself. As he says this, Ochako would acknowledge the fact he could do that. To him, it's extremely surprising that he's capable of doing that. He would ask how. Well, she would actually ask how. Deku explains that he really doesn't know. He could just do it. It just happens. Genuinely, it just happens. So as he acknowledges this, Ochako just looks at him. Okay, fine. She would smile. With her smiling, we will now time skip. The fight begins. Bakugo comes rushing out. This time around, he isn't rushing out towards Deku because he knows Deku and he, bullies Deku. This time around, he's rushing out because this guy seems to be the most powerful, and to him, he's in his way. He's in his way of being the top one in his class, and he does not like that. So he rushes forward towards Deku and immediately goes in to shoot his explosions forward. Deku proceeds to dodge all of Bakugo's explosions before sweep kicking him, spinning and kicking Bakugo in the face. As Bakugo's kicked in the face, Deku proceeds to look towards him. Jeez, man, calm down. Bakugo looks at him. "Don't tell me to calm down!" As he goes in for explosion after explosion after explosion. Deku continues to dodge them all. As he's dodging all of Bakugo's explosions, eventually Deku just has a straight facial expression. He proceeds to pop a very small bubble, and it just begins to tank all of Bakugo's explosions. Deku just looks towards him blankly. Okay, you need to calm down. Deku proceeds to literally drop his bubble. He ducks an explosion. He puts his bubbles around his fists. He proceeds to uppercut Bakugo. He then punches him across the face again. Well, from there, Deku begins to punch him over and over and over and over again. Bakugo's being hit over and over and over again. He's stumbling backwards. As Deku proceeds to spawn in his shields, he jumps backwards and he throws his shield forward. The shield winds up hitting Bakugo. Bakugo slides across the ground and he looks upward towards Deku. Deku is seen walking towards him. He walks towards him, runs, jumps, and he kicks Bakugo across the stomach. Deku then proceeds to literally grab Bakugo as he's flying back. Deku literally jumps forward, grab Bakugo, and he proceeds to slam his face into the ground. As he does so, Deku tells him that he's angry and he needs to calm down. As he says his, Bakugo tells him to shut the hell up and die. As he goes in for an explosion, Deku jumps backwards. He proceeds to place a bubble around Bakugo. As he does so, Deku explains, wait in there, wait it out, and calm down a little bit. As from here, Deku proceeds to walk off, leaving Bakugo within the bubble. Bakugo begins to scream as he begins to crash out, literally shooting explosion after explosion after explosion within the bubble, but it doesn't do anything. Because of course, he's trapped inside of a bubble. These bubbles are indestructible, and just like that, Deku technically has Bakugo apprehended. Or from here, he goes onward and he does the same thing to Ida. He literally just instantly places him into bubbles, because he realizes this is a very quick way to win. He walks forward, touches the bomb, and from there, Deku declared as the winner. This actually intrigues the class because he did not show like some crazy blast powers or something like that, but he did manage to really handle Bakugo. And they're pretty surprised because this Bakugo kid seems to be like crazy as hell. And Deku handled him with no difficulty. That's mainly because Deku's used to crash outs. Like Bismuth, a crash out. Jasper, a crash out. Yellow Diamond, a crash out. He's so used to dealing with crash outs that defeating Bakugo was not going to be an issue from here. Okay guys, from here I'm going to be taking my first break. I'll record the rest of the video, probably not the exact rest, I'd say like the next third of the video tomorrow. Anyways guys, I'm going to get this video out by Thursday. And I know I promised like 4 to 5 videos, but no, I might just make 3 videos like I said. 3 is going to be the next best option. Anyways, with that being said guys, I'll be back.